Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I believe you're going to find this video interesting. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. I've got some things, that oftentimes I tell you that as I've done this channel for over 2 years now and focused on this one company and this one digital asset for the most part, what happens is your brain just starts to deliver things up when things happen that you remember. It could be from a video I did years ago, or a couple of years ago, something that I covered, and there's so many things happening right now, and my brain's just going, wow, I remember that, and now this makes sense, and that kind of thing. So I'm going to show you some of that today. Riz XRP showed me this. There's been some rumors the last 24 hours that the SEC case with Ripple has been settled, and I'm not one of the ones that believes it. I don't follow this guy. I'll start following him. I'm not one of the people that believes that. I think that people are reading more into some of these things. They've gone in to see what's on, I guess, the docket. This guy says, my thoughts, Ripple may have settled or the case could be dropped. For it's not to be listed on the SEC site with other cases. It's very intriguing at least it shows going through the magistrate to seek earlier resolution. Regardless, this is very positive and maybe in. Then this was sent to me, and this shows a notice of appearance of all these attorneys for Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse, and then it shows order granting motion for whatever pro hack vice is. Anyway, I'm not an attorney, but this tweet makes the most sense to me. This guy, the accountant, he says, SEC case against Ripple is not dropped, no matter what you're hearing. They progressed today by appointing attorneys to represent the defendants. The case is not marked as terminated on the court docket either. You can look this up yourself and get an account to search SDNY. Pacer website, which is where the court uploads data from the Southern District of New York, still shows it active and pro-hack vice for attorneys being granted on behalf of the defendants. I just paid $1.80 to pull up the information. So anyway, I think this guy's right. I think Ripple needed this case. I think they need this to go through the process to get a judgment on what this is. I've always felt like that's what they wanted. And I also feel like this may end up being a security that's not a security like the way people are thinking, a security that's secured by shares in Ripple, the company. No, I think this thing could be called some kind of a hybrid. It can even be called a hybrid where, depending on how it's being used, it could be a security or a currency or a commodity in different. I believe they're going to come up with a whole new Howey test that's going to be laid out. Who knows how it all falls, but it could be a security that's secured by something else. Who knows how this all comes out? One thing I do know is that XRP is the one. It's the greatest digital asset ever created. In the United States, I've always believed this was part of a plan, and I still believe it. So anyway, Michelle Vandenberg sent me this. This is from Mickey B. Fresh. Now we're gonna go on a Gary Gensler tangent because I don't think everybody truly realizes just how connected this guy is to everybody in this story. Okay? All the world's a stage, right? Let's show you the stage. Let's show you some of the actors. Let's show you how this all falls out. So first we're going to start with this Mickey B. Fresh, new SEC chair, Gary Gensler, talking about the Internet of Value. Words mean things. Phrases mean things. This guy didn't come up with this language himself. But before I show you the video, I want to show you this. This is from Mickey B. Fresh from CoinDesk. The Ripple project, in turn, is led by MIT professor Alex Pentland. I don't know where that clip came from, but and then it says, distributed ledger technology can be used to represent supranational digital liquidity. I don't know where this came from, but let me tell you what, I felt like MIT was involved in all this from the start, and I'm about to show you why. Okay? And Gary Gensler too. Okay, listen to what he says here.
And then something called the Internet of Value. Moving around on the Internet, packets of data.
And by the way, I forgot to re-mention, Gary Gensler is the guy that's been appointed to replace Jay Clayton at the SEC, is going to be, okay?
Representing value as well. And then something called the Internet of Value. Moving around on the Internet, packets of data representing value, the same way we move packets of data around the Internet since the early 1990s on the Internet. And the Internet is not an intranet. In the early 90s, we had CompuServe and other services that were intranets. And then the Internet comes along because great MIT work, World Wide Web, Tim Berners-Lee, and so forth.
So the Internet came about because of MIT Tim Berners-Lee. He mentions Tim Berners-Lee. We'll get to him in a minute.
Forth, creating an Internet. Will we get to a place where we have a true Internet moving money around, packets of value, interoperable movement of value and micropayments?
What in the world could he be talking about? So he brings up Tim Berners-Lee. Well, that reminds me of this. Does anybody remember in 2017 when Tim Berners-Lee and Ben Bernanke were on stage at Ripple Swell? I do. Okay, so that's the first, I think it was 2017. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you. Remember Dr. Ben Bernanke and remember Tim Berners-Lee, because now I'm going to show you this. Tim Berners-Lee, 1988 Economist Magazine, Get Ready for a World Currency Phoenix publication. And I haven't checked these dates. I'm assuming this is ballpark right. August 1988, WWW conceived by Tim Berners-Lee. 402, payment required status code included for future use. August 1988, David Schwartz DLT patent filed. 1989, David Chaum creates DigiCash, Ripple plus Elixir ? Okay, and this is a company, David Chaum's company, I believe. Now, let's move along. Here's Gary Gensler when he was working hand in hand with Ben Bernanke. Yes, the same Ben Bernanke that was on stage at Swell in 2017 with Ripple. They look like they're having a good time. All right, here's the other thing you need to know about Gary Gensler. He was involved in the financial crisis. I've said on this channel from day one, financial crisis is where this stuff was hatched, or at least it was where they got serious about it. Gensler has been credited with taking the CFTC, a once sleepy and hands-off regulator, and thrusting it into the front lines of reform. Gensler was described as one of the leading reformers after the financial crisis swaps. During Gensler's tenure at CFTC, he worked closely with the Obama administration, United States Congress, and other regulators to transform the $400 trillion financial derivatives markets that were at the center of the 2008 financial crisis. Upon becoming chairman, Gensler began leading the Obama administration's effort to start policing the Wild West of finance, the murky market for over-the-counter derivatives. When the Treasury Department released draft legislation to bring regulatory oversight to the swaps market, Gensler sent a letter to Congress arguing that the proposal did not go far enough. This guy has been up to his eyeballs in the derivatives and trying to handle, they didn't say the word here, but they're talking about systemic issues that arose out of the financial crisis. Who's talked about systemic issues? Brianna Madigan. We also had Chris Larson on stage at Money 2020. He said that he thought that that XRP could help in the next financial crisis. This has always been about the financial crisis and the systemic problems that were going on, the liquidity problems. Okay, now let's move along. This is Gary Gensler as well, and I wanted to show you this clip, but so that you can kind of get a feel for where he's coming from. Okay, they're not banning anything, folks. XRP is going to be a part of the financial system. They may create labels. I think they're going to create hybrid labels. I think that out of the court case, we're probably going to have some kind of a hybrid definition so that XRP could be different things. I don't know that for a fact. What I do know is they're not putting the genie back in the bottle, and they know it's going to be used, and it's going to be used by them. Here we go.
Last question.
Why
don't regulators regulate cryptocurrencies out of existence? Aren't they mainly tax evasion and illegal activity conduits?
All right. So crypto came along. At first, nobody even knew it. The U.S. I'm just going to use the U.S., but it's true around the globe. The first question is how to tax it. U.S. Department of Treasury between 2011 and 2013 figured that all out, and it's property. If you have a capital gain, you pay your capital gain, and so forth. We're going through this period now where we're sort of settling down, or some of them securities and some of them not. But it's not been, in really any country, the official sector's view that they've got to, what was the word, regulated out of existence? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some say China has, but they didn't. In the fall of 2017, China said they, quote, banned initial coin offerings and they banned crypto exchanges. Before they did that, about 60% of the trading between Bitcoin and fiat currencies was Bitcoin versus renminbi. And subsequently, it's usually 50 to 60% US dollars, Japanese yen, and so forth. So the Chinese authorities were basically trying to tamp down on renminbi, Bitcoin cross, but they have capital controls. For most other countries, the regulators said, we're pulling it inside the regulatory perimeter. It's an asset for tax purposes. We're pulling it inside the anti-money laundering, I'll call it regulatory perimeter. Many countries have decided not to pull it inside the security or an investor protection perimeter. Here in the U.S., we have. Jay Clayton, I think rightly, the head of the SEC, has, because we have different securities laws in this country, which includes the word investment contract inside the securities laws. So the question is not whether an initial coin offering is a security, is it an investment contract? And if it is, then it's a security. So at the core is, I think most governments, and I would agree with this, feel it's not their job to ban something. It's to say this new technology will be technology neutral. Can we bring it inside the socially accepted parameters of tax law, anti-money laundering, investor protection, and the like?
So they're not banning anything. That's interesting. Now, let's talk a little further about Gary Gensler, because I remember things. Here's what I remember. Do you remember when I showed you these digital currency wars that he took part in at Harvard University back on November 19th, 2019? Look at the cast of characters. You had Larry Summers. You might want to remember that name. Gary Gensler. You also had this lady right here. Her name is Neha Narula. She's a director at the Digital Currency Initiative. Well, what's the Digital Currency Initiative? It's not, and by the way, it's not called the digital. First of all, this was not called Digital Security Wars. It was called Digital Currency Wars. And this is not called Digital Security Initiative at MIT. It's called the Digital Currency Initiative at MIT. Boy, does that logo look familiar. You know what that logo looks like? It looks like this logo, the Digital Currency Group. Digital Currency Group, Digital Currency Initiative. Digital Currency Group, Digital Currency Initiative. They sure look similar. Digital Currency Group, just as a by the way, on their board, their board advisors is Larry Summers, who's also at this MIT, at this Harvard forum, where this girl from the Digital Currency Initiative is from. And who else is on the Digital Currency Initiative? Well, let's look. And by the way, I'll repeat again, it's not the Digital Security Initiative. It's the Digital Currency Initiative. And if I can find, there's the team right there. Let's do that. Let's go down. Oh, there's Gary Gensler on the Digital Currency Initiative. Okay. And there's Larry Summers, and I'm moving along. XRP lighting the way sent me this. Brian P. Brooks to step down from the OCC. Blake Paulson to become acting comptroller of the currency on January 14th, 2021, which is that's today. All right. So who is Blake Paulson? I immediately thought that, hey, this guy might be related to Hank Paulson, who presided over the financial crisis, but he's not related in any way that I could find. This guy's from like South Dakota. In fact, just looking at his resume, it looks like he's just a guy that worked his way up. He's not some Ivy League or anything like that. But here's the most interesting thing about this guy that I could find. In his role, he was the senior deputy comptroller and the chief operating officer at the OCC. So he's more or less been promoted. In this role, Mr. Paulson oversees OCC bank supervision and OCC management operations, as well as staff responsibility for systemic risk identification, support, and specialty supervision. So this guy presided over making sure he's watching over anything that's a systemic risk. How many times have we heard that phrase around Ripple and XRP? Many. All right, Ashish Burla tweeted this out. The pandemic continues to highlight the needs of overseas workers around the world. Today, 45 million Bangladeshis can receive money from loved ones overseas using mobile money, Mutual Trust Bank, and Bcash, all through Ripple.net. And that was an announcement from Ripple. Okay, Jeremy Allaire tweeted this out this morning. Big win for the industry. With Treasury FinCEN extending the comment period on new rules on crypto wallets. This topic will now get the appropriate time that it deserves. Look forward to working with FinCEN to address these issues. So that's what they were worried about is the private wallets or whatever. They were going to try to pass legislation where it had to identify every person or something when something's going in and off of the exchanges. Not sure where that's going to go. Okay, PTS. What I'm about to show you is very interesting, folks. Watch this. PTS sent me this. Apparently, the White House has launched a National Artificial Intelligence Initiative Office. This gets really interesting when you go down here. They say, let's down here, they show you the logo, the National AI Initiative Official Seal. And folks, I've been looking at nodes for over 2 years now, and those are nodes. But don't take my word for it. Take it from them. The interconnected nodes symbolize neural network, one of many technologies foundational to AI and machine learning that are transforming society, creating prosperity, enhancing national security, and improving quality of life. The eighth node of the neural network is highlighted with the American flag, representing the commitment of the United States to leadership in AI and the importance of an all-nation approach to the research, development, and deployment of AI. So there you go, folks. Nodes. This is our future right here, is nodes on the network. And I've told you from day one, it's not a coincidence you're seeing this. It's not a coincidence that Trump created Space Force and that Elon Musk through SpaceX has been putting all these Starlink satellites in space. Write it down. There's going to be nodes. I believe that Elon Musk has known about. I've already shown you how he invested in Stellar, but I believe that XRP and Stellar have been involved in all this from day freaking one. And then I tweeted this out. I said, I know a node when I see one. I think a lot of people know a node when they see one at this point. Hey, I just wanted to show you this. I just got my 8-year-old. I brought him into my office and showed him this, and he couldn't believe it. Mickey Mantle rookie card sells for $5.2 million, setting a record. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that Mickey Mantle's rookie card just sold for $5.2 million. Thanks for listening.